In today's breaking story, Donald Trump just stunned Finland's president with a brutal NATO bomb. That's right, Donald Trump sat down with Finland's president, and of course, he could not be diplomatic to save his life. How's it going, everybody? Hunter Avalone here with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now, Donald Trump is a complete and total disaster. He is constantly engaged in illegal behavior.
We've also heard from the President of the United States yesterday when he threatened to withhold back pay for our federal workers. And I want to be clear that those comments are reckless, those comments are irresponsible, and importantly, those comments are illegal. To our federal workers, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that Washington seemingly cannot perform basic functions that states have to perform every single day. I'm sorry that Washington cannot seem to perform basic functions that your families are performing every single day. That we are talking about public servants, people who have dedicated their lives to this country, people who have taken an oath to make sure that airline safety is paramount, that we have a beautiful airport for people to be able to come and visit and witness, that we have federal workers all across the state who are doing things like making sure that our food is safe, that our critical infrastructure is protected, that veterans are getting the supports that they need, and not to mention the fact that 1 in 4 federal workers is a military veteran. But I can tell you one thing for sure. As you see and you're walking around here, our BWI workers are still here. They're on the job. But unfortunately, because of this situation, the majority of them are right now working without pay.
And more governors are standing up to Donald Trump.
I filed that amicus brief last night to make very clear that the Pennsylvania National Guard, under the leadership of General Pippy, is under my command. I'm the Commander-in-Chief of the Pennsylvania National Guard. And we use the Guard responsibly, and we are grateful to our Guardsmen and women for the important work that they do here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I think the way the President has chosen to deploy the Guard in other states, and in at least one case, deploy the Guard of one state into another state, Texas into Illinois, is extremely dangerous. I will tell you, as both the Commander-in-Chief of the Pennsylvania National Guard, along with the former Chief Law Enforcement Officer of this Commonwealth, Pennsylvanian safety is paramount. And the way in which the President of the United States has engaged on this Guard issue does not make us more safe. It creates chaos and real danger.
And now Trump just stunned Finland's president with a brutal NATO bomb. That's right, take a look at today's top story.
I requested that they pay 5%, not 2%, and most people thought that was not going to happen, and it happened virtually unanimously. We had one laggard. It was Spain. Spain. You have to call them and find why are they a laggard, and they're doing well too. You know the funny thing, because of a lot of the things we've done, they're doing fine. They have no excuse not to do this, but that's all right. Maybe you should throw them out of NATO, frankly.
President Trump left the president of Finland visibly stunned today after he suggested that Spain, one of America's NATO allies, should be expelled from the alliance simply because he doesn't like their military budget. The moment came during a joint appearance at the White House where Trump bragged about demanding that NATO countries spend 5% of their gross domestic product on defense, more than double the existing 2% target. He claimed most allies had agreed, with one exception, Spain. Trump called them a laggard, then casually added, "Maybe you should throw them out of NATO, frankly." That comment rattled international observers. NATO is built on unity against shared threats, particularly Russia, and no president has ever openly suggested throwing out an ally for failing to meet budget goals. For Finland, a country that only just joined NATO alongside Sweden in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, The remark raised immediate questions about whether the United States can be trusted to hold the alliance together. Spain, for its part, has been a member of NATO since 1982, and while it does not currently meet the defense spending threshold, it has contributed to critical operations and deployments across the alliance for decades. Experts note that Trump's repeated framing of NATO contributions as a fee misunderstands how the alliance actually works. The United States indeed spends more on defense than any other NATO member, but NATO has only once invoked its Mutual Defense Clause, Article 5, and that was after the September 11th attacks when every NATO ally came to America's aid. Trump's remark is the latest in a series of public statements undermining international diplomacy and rattling allies who are watching closely as the United States heads into another election year. For European leaders already facing the threat of Russia on their doorstep, the idea of America's president musing about ejecting a partner state isn't just reckless rhetoric, it's destabilizing at the highest level. Thanks so much for watching. Please click that like button and subscribe to Occupy Democrats so that you can stay informed and help us stop Donald Trump.